Welcome to Umbrellas of Hope, where we bring you stories of inspiration and resilience. Today, we had the privilege of introducing to you a Jeffrey Hall, a Navy veteran and the owner of Safety Net Solutions. With unwavering determination, Jeff aimed to build out his company, driven by his passion for making a positive impact. Supported by his dedicated team and his mentor Russ, they share a deep commitment to giving back through extensive military and community service. Join us as we uncover Jeff's journey of hope and transformation, proving that with perseverance and a heart for service, one can truly create a brighter future for all.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeff Hall. I'm a retired Navy Chief, hospital corpsman, and I'm here today to share my story, hoping that any one of you listening, hopefully all of you listening, can get something from it that will benefit you in some way. Um, so, as an enlisted person, I what I come to learn throughout my journey is that many of us in the military, particularly those from the enlisted ranks, we come from broken families, challenged backgrounds, and just a number of socially challenging environments. And I find that just not because of maybe because and despite that, we rise to become who, what, where, and how we are. Myself personally, um, I currently am a business owner, and I never imagined I would be where I am today. Not that I've reached any kind of incredible status, but certainly far more than I imagined. So I grew up in the projects in Chicago. My siblings and I pretty much had a large hand in raising ourselves and each other for a variety of reasons, and I'm sure that's unique, not unique to a number of people who served on active duty, particularly again in the enlisted ranks. So I pretty much raised my little sister, had a number of challenges, as a child, and moved a number of times, um, and was a high school dropout. I went back and got my GED. I call it my good enough diploma. Um, and had my first ready-made fab. Well, before that, I took my first job, my first real job at 17 in telemarketing, which I had no idea it's how much it would serve me down the road and how well it's serving me right now. To be honest, but it was at that point at 17 I started planning my move, out of my home to move forward, move beyond, and escape the environment that I was in. So at 18, I moved. I had enough money saved to get my own place, move out. 19, I had my first ready-made family. I met my first wife in telemarketing. Her daughter was a year old. I adopted her a year later and joined the Navy. A year and a half later, at age 20, I adopted my daughter, joined the Navy to make a family, to make a life, and for long term, just long term goals. The day I signed up, I knew I was going to stay for 20 years. That was my plan going in. Um, because so my ASVAB score, according to my recruiter, qualified me for one of two positions, either cook or Navy hospital corpsman. I took corpsman, and that journey, that decision there, really shaped my life, among many. I also knew when I signed up that I was staying for 20 years. I knew that I would have to work for somebody for 20 years. Who else is going to give me a paycheck the rest of my life just for 20 years of work? I'd already experienced, a fair amount of adversity, challenges, fights, and things like that. I could take the butt whooping. So I'm here for the long haul. Was my rationale. That was the best decision of my life. Becoming a corpsman, wow. And then ultimately, achieving the rank of chief just before I retired. That was a journey because both sailors and Marines, and I spent most of my career with Marines, serving with the Marines as their hospital corpsman, and you just You meet other people who come from backgrounds like you. You meet people from every walk of life, and that just opens you up. First of all, opens your world. Um, the number of experiences and the jobs that I had, being able to exchange jobs and have a whole new experience every 6 months to 3 years, that was right up while still keeping the same job and having that longevity. It just made it worked for me. It absolutely worked for me. With that, I pretty much spanned the gamut of healthcare from hospital ward care to clinics to shipboard to combat medicine to telemedicine, and then HR, which is career counseling, recruiting, and and the gamut. You kind of get it. I started working on my bachelor's while on active duty, and then when I ultimately retired, after my last duty station in New England, recruiting healthcare professionals for the Navy, doctors, dentists, nurses, and the whole range of healthcare professionals. Um, I, I, I furthered my education and ultimately worked on my bachelor's in Northeastern healthcare management. Um, I retired from there in 2009, and my first job out of the Navy was well, I met my boss actually in an Irish pub around the corner from where I lived at the time when I was on terminal leave. And my full time job at that time was looking for my next job, my next career, and what I was going to do. And ultimately ended up in telemedicine sales and program management and setting up programs. And my market was the federal market. Exposed me, wow. So just while after duty, I learned procurement and how things were done. But this was an entirely different beast. Actually selling to the federal government and solving problems and taking a consultative approach to selling and solving those problems. While working that job and quite honestly on a plane somewhere, usually twice a week, I'm completing my bachelor's degree. And then what I learned while there inspired me so much, and I just loved what I was doing. And I sat in an open house for master's programs at the same school, Northeastern, and learned about health informatics. And said, "Oh wow, this is it. This is the thing. This is what I'm doing right now. This is what it was going to change the world." And so I did. I went for that program. By this time, and I know I'm fast forwarding quite a bit, but by this time, I was on my fourth marriage, and that was not going well. And I found myself derailed. But what I learned was that, yeah, again, going back to where we come from, many of us on active duty, we're probably 1% of the population who serve, and especially those who served in high operational tempo environments. Everything you do is, I call it kind of high octane, and it's in the preparation for the inevitability of war or some kind of combat or conflict. And you go from that, and every day you're just kind of amped. Even though recruiting, it's high tempo, and then to go from that to go to now you're out. Now you're civilian, and it's like going from 1,000 miles an hour and slamming the brakes and going to zero. And what do you do? What do you do with all that excess energy and all that excess drive? And now, because it feels like now you're moving in slow motion, even though it's a fast paced environment for most, it's not for you. And I noticed my other brothers and sisters around me who also exited active duty. They found it hard to transition, even then when they can go into their dream jobs, but still it's just something that vastly different to prepare for. And while I acknowledge that Uncle Sam is great at providing all our needs while we're on active duty, we know when to eat, when to sleep, when to take our bio breaks, and we know when we're getting paid. There's so many things we don't have to think about that now we're opposite. We suddenly find ourselves having to figure out. And the transition assistance program, TAP, or TAP for some branches, is just, it's not enough. And then so we find ourselves engaging. Well, I'll speak for myself, but many of us have found ourselves engaging in risky behavior. abusing alcohol and other substances, and just to kind of recreate or replace that rush that we're used to having. And if we don't find balance, we can it's not hard to succumb to it. And I've seen many of our brothers and sisters succumb to it just by not knowing how to adapt. Um, so I guess I had the benefit, you may want to call it, I don't know, of having basically a lifetime of different types of adversities that I haven't really had the time or the luxury of slowing down to really consider them. And I think I feel kind of blessed for that because I just had to keep going. But there's also a lot to be said for having that time and space to be able to slow down long enough to consider where you're at, so you don't continue the same behaviors and patterns, and then you're able to move forward in a productive way. So I left that job, left that marriage, and found myself lost for a while. But there's something in all of us, particularly those of us who serve, that we're prepared for things that most people, in my humble opinion, in society are not prepared for. And for example, a 40-hour course that most people would experience maybe in a 3-month period, we have one week, we have 5 days, to pump and dump. So we're conditioned to go, several days without sleep to make the mission happen, and without using substances, using pure adrenaline and caffeine. No shortage of coffee being poured. Um, but my background before the Navy, my time in the Navy, and all the experiences and learning leadership from some very solid leaders who just really helped shape me into the human that I am today. Um, the my of course my formal education, my experience, and my employment history following the Navy had all ultimately led me to where I am, and I was introduced by a mutual friend to my current dear friend and business partner, and and my predecessor from whom I just bought the company that I now own. It's just, if one of those components from my past had been missing, even the divorces and the other things that, if one of those components were missing, I can't say that I'd be where I am right now. So I learned that embracing my experiences, no matter how painful, looking at them, embracing them, and taking the experiences, and looking for the lessons in each one of them. It's really, it's worth doing. It can be painful, it can be tough, it can be hard. It's hard to look at yourself and and see, it really can be to take that hard, deep, close look at yourself and see, why you're making the decisions that you're making, why you find yourself in familiar patterns, which I often have. Um, Risk taking behavior, choices in partners. I think a number of us, if not all of us, have experienced some of these challenges. But I do think that, finding someone you can connect with is either on the same path you're on, or where you're headed, or they're already there. I think that's helpful. I can't speak for every VA, but but the VA healthcare system that I use, especially being able to having the healthcare background that I have and knowing how to advocate for myself, has proven very beneficial to me. I still utilize all the services that are available to me, including and especially the mental health part of it, because I think that's critical. I know that for a long time there's been quite a stigma on that, particularly within our services. I think we're getting better with that. I'd like to think that we are, but I see it as an investment in myself to take care of myself. We have physical health, of course, we're going to have mental health, and I think they're all, everything has to be paid, given its due attention. Um, so, like I said, I was placed in a position where this past December I was able to buy the company that I'm working for, that I've been working for since 2016, largely, mostly on, some off. There have been some challenges, and it's I find that it's my personal, mental, and physical health is even more critical because now I'm responsible for other people. Just for the same reasons I did things made the choices I made while on active duty. It was all about the mission and those to whom I'm responsible and those for whom I'm responsible. They're worth me taking care of myself, better care of myself. And we um, as we pause to remember those who paid the ultimate sacrifice on this Memorial Day weekend, I find myself grateful because on many occasions I could have been the one not coming home. Um, I'm glad that I'm here, and now that I realize, and now that I am, I have to use it. I have to pay homage to it, and I have to give it its due respect. I've got to live every day as if it were my last. I don't know what moment is going to be my last, but I think it just shows humbly. I think it shows respect and honors those who did not make it home to do the best we can, not just for ourselves. Of course, we have to take care of ourselves before we can take care of anyone else. But we have to be prepared to care for others as well, particularly our brothers and sisters who are lost and have not found their way home. Even though they're on American soil, many of them still have not found their way home. And those are the people I think about, particularly on this weekend. It's hard to speak about it and think about it without getting at least a little bit emotional because I think many of us have those in our memories, those we held dear, those who we remember, that are with us today. So for them, I think I owe it to them every day to do the absolute best I can, not just for myself, but for everybody I come in contact with, and to just with each human soul I encounter, to just my intention is to leave them better than I found them. Um,
Thank you for joining us on this powerful episode of Keep On Living, brought to you by Umbrellas of Hope. We had the privilege of listening to Jeffrey Hall, a retired Navy SEAL, and he shared his inspiring journey of resilience and transformation. His life has been a testament of overcoming adversity, rising above challenging circumstances, and finding strength within himself. From a challenging upbringing in a broken family, navigating hardship and serving in the military, Jeff's story serves as a beacon of hope for all of us. As he navigated the highs and lows of life, Jeff found solace in education, continued learning, and embracing every experience as a lesson. Through determination and hard work, he achieved remarkable milestones, including becoming a business owner and earning his master's degree in health informatics. Yet, profound insight reminds us of the importance of mental and physical well being, especially during life transitions. He emphasized the significance of supporting one another, particularly for those who have served in the military, ensuring they find their way home and receive the care they need. As we honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice, Jeff's story serves as a reminder to live every day to the fullest, cherishing life, precious moment, and being grateful for the opportunity we have. We thank Jeffrey Hall for sharing his heartfelt and inspiring journey with us. Let us carry his word of hope and perseverance in our heart as we continue to keep on living, supporting and uplifting one another and our individual path to brighter future. Thank you. Hello, amazing viewers. Your support is invaluable. Your like, shares, and engagement have channeled into a vibrant community, and we're deeply grateful. Thank you. If you have been enjoying our content and want to see more, there's a simple way to support us. Hit that big red subscribe button below this video. Subscribing not only keeps you updated on our latest release, but also shows your appreciation for what we do. And some exciting news, our next promo, it reveals fantastic products we have crafted with you in mind. From exclusive merchandise to cutting edge tools, we got it all. By purchasing a product, you become a part of our mission to deliver valuable content and take this community to new heights. Every purchase helps us invest in better equipment, expand our team, and explore new possibilities. These products are just things that you own. They are a symbol of your support and love for what we do. So stay tuned for the next video. Check the links below and grab what catches your eyes. Let's embark on this journey together. Thank you for inspiring us. You turn this channel into a community, not just a platform. So let's continue to create and soar together.
I actually journaled after our first visit. This is my second outing with Fishing with America's Finest. And I read that journal last night. And what I had very distinctly noticed is that I commuted down here to the park, our first time out. And I came in listening to some real, headbanging rock music. And when I left, at the end of the day, after being out here in the open air and in the vast land of the Everglades, I went home listening to different music. And I had noticed it. And when I got home, even my taste buds for my cravings for different foods started opening up to different things. And I guess I just started maturing and, more importantly, healing the heart and the mind and that connection. It was like the Everglades and the outing here with Fishing with America's Finest kind of sparked it, and it just kept going from there. And I kept in touch with you, and we talked. And I don't know if in a past life you're obviously, quite obviously in this life, a healer of sorts, and you are in the right, absolute right spot dealing with people that definitely benefit. I know I did. And it started with just one outing to the Everglades with you, with Fishing with America's Finest.
As a female veteran, how did it affect you?
It was profound. It was so profound that I actually had to write about it. Wrote a novel. And it just stayed on my mind because I love the quiet. That was the first time it was quiet. So it gave me peace for a little bit. And I miss it.
It gives me peace every time I come out here.
Mm-hmm.
It never gets old. It's what's so amazing about being out here. I don't even know the number of the trips that I've made in my lifetime to the Everglades. And each and every time it moves me.
Yeah.
It's, there's so many things in life that we do, things that we love, whether it's an ice cream or a restaurant. And after a while, you're like, I want to try something else.